What's going on, guys? This is Spritzee here, and today I'm bringing you my week 1 battle from the PPL off-season against Alex Bayonet and the Birmingham Spritzee. Links to his channel and the PPL channel will be in the description. You can also go there to check out the people who helped me build this team, being Schady and baby Eric. So looking at his team, he brought a couple of things which I was really not expecting. So the three on the right I was expecting Circuitry, May Kangaskhan, and Lander OST, but I sort of in the other slots expected maybe Starmie, probably Sizzle. I don't know why I was expecting Sizzle, but I just did. Things like that. Instead of which, I did expect Aromatisse as well because he needed a Dark Resist, but he did actually end up bringing the Crabominable and the Dramper, which makes me think either it's a very bulky Dramper to sort of maybe try to switch into Victini, but I also don't think that Alex is the kind of person who has to find a Victini switch in. Like, he knows it's just powerful and he'll try and play around it offensively. So I'm thinking it looks more like a Trick Room team because he has three extremely slow things which get outsped by my entire team and aren't bulky enough to take hits from my entire team. So I feel like Aromatisse is going to be running Trick Room, but it is his only Trick Room setter, so if I can weaken it or kill it, then that's done for the game. Now, looking at the rest of his team, Lander OST is a big threat. I basically need to preserve the combination of like Miltank and Thunderous, or Nidoking and Thunderous, or something like that, so if it is Scarfed offensive, it can't just sweep through my team. If it's bulky, I can deal with it a bit better because I do outspeed it with like Thunderous, Nidoking, Hooper, and Victini, basically everything other than my walls, and if it's fully bulky, I even outspeed it with Miltank, so I can whittle it down that way, fire off big hits, etc. So I look at his team and decide that my best lead is Victini because if he leads like Mega Kangaskhan, I can take any one hit from it and do a lot back with Blue Flare, or I can switch it into my Miltank. If he leads with like Circuitry, same thing, take any one hit, kill something with Blue Flare. If he leads with Landorus, I probably won't say him because if it's Scarfed, I do just lose my Victini turn 1. And the other three things I can do a lot to and they can't really touch me, like Crabominable, Ioko, Dramper, I close to Oko and it can't kill me. Aromatisse, I 2 at KO and it can't really kill me either. So I figured Victini was a good lead. I could just lead off and click Blue Flare, and that's what I decided to do. Unfortunately, he leads off with his Landorus. I'm going to make a comment right here. I automatically win this game because Alex doesn't have nicknames, so I'm clearly the better coach, manager, whatever you want to call it. So as I said, because he led off with Landorus, I decided to switch out into my Miltank because I do not want to take a hit from this thing, as he just goes for rocks, making me think that it's probably a bulkier set, because a bulky one had a chance to live like a Glaciate, whereas a Scarfed one I could have just straight up Oko'd. So if I was Scarfed Victini with Glaciate, I would have just Oko'd an offensive Landorus, so I figured he wouldn't risk that insane and go for rocks, meaning he's probably bulky of some description, maybe Yachi Berry to take a hit from that Victini, etc. So I switch out into my Miltank expecting maybe an attack. Miltank's my best thing to take that hit. But he just goes for his rocks, and then I decided to get my rocks up in return because neither of us brought hazard removal because that is how draft leagues work. The reason I went for rocks is because I didn't really know what he was going to switch into, and Body Slam doesn't do much to most of his team, so I decided to get rocks just to get some chip damage on things. Now he goes out into his Kangaskhan, which does have a nickname, so possibly Landorus is the only thing that didn't have a nickname. I didn't pay attention in game, if I'm honest. And I don't really know why, because this thing doesn't get Power Up Punch. And the only reason he'll bring it in is to Power Up Punch on me and set up on me. So this is when I start getting worried about if he's like a bulky sub-wish set and I can't break a sub and then he starts stalling me out. So I decided to stay in, just go for Body Slam and scout what he wants to do. The reason I didn't Milk Drink is because I know he can't 2-hit KO me with like anything other than Hammer Arm, basically. And so if he goes for Hammer Arm, I'll outspeed the following turn and everything is fine. And if he goes for anything else, I can Milk Drink up on the following turn and everything is fine. So I decided to go for Body Slam, get up some chip damage on his Kangaskhan as he reveals, and you will see it soon, the motherfucking Crush Claw. And gets the defense job on both hits. As I just go for Body Slam and get some chip damage. Now, Crush Claw. I will admit I did not expect to see this. I know it had it, well I didn't even know if it had it in its pre-bank moveset. I did go and check afterwards and it does. And it has a 50% chance to lower defense. Now he got a 25% chance of lowering defense both times, which is really bad, because lowering defense on the first time meant they got a little bit more chip damage off, which meant that I can't live a return, for example, but it will still take 2 hits to knock me out, so that's nice. I didn't get the power on Body Slam, which is unfortunate, But the second defense drop really hurts, because if I hadn't gotten that second defense drop, I could have taken another hit, and then the combination of Rocket Helmet plus Body Slam would have killed this thing. I would have been okay to let Milk Tank take damage for that reason. I probably would have just Milk Drinked up. Well, no, I probably would have gone for Body Slam in case he went for another Crush Claw or something like that, but it would have changed it. At this point, at -2 defense, I can't leave a hit from this thing, and I have nothing else which can take 2 hits from this thing. So I have to sack him on because he got the 2 defense drops. Now, I'm not taking this away from Alex, and it's really good prep, because he knew he couldn't bring Power Up Punch, so he brought Crush Claw instead. Really nice investigating on his part. It just sucks for me, because now my answer to this thing is going to die. And if he hadn't gotten one of those, I would have been able to 1v1 this thing. But because he got the second one, I do end up just bringing this thing down. Luckily, I do bring it down into the range where it can't switch back in on rocks, so I can basically revenge this thing with anything I want that I know outspeeds. Now here, I make a bit of a misplay, because I go into Thunderous to revenge knowing that I outspeed and knowing that I can take a Sucker Punch. However, what I didn't consider is that this is my only ground immunity, and the only thing that's really stopping a Scarfed Landorus from killing me, because I sort of thought that he wasn't Scarfed Landorus. And at this point I was like, well, Thunderous doesn't allow anything to free switch in afterwards, whereas if I go into Nidoking, I'll have to reveal that I'm Scarfed. If I go into Hooper, I don't want to take a Sucker Punch basically, because I'll be down into Rock's range and then just get revenge for everything. So I play with either Thunderous or Nidoking. Didn't want to go Victini because I potentially just die to an Earthquake if he decides to risk the speed tie, which I don't have enough investment for. So my play was either Thunderous or Nidoking. In my head, I was like, I need to keep Nidoking healthy for Xurkitree. However, all I needed was that Nidoking is alive for Xurkitree, whereas I do need Thunderous healthy so that I can continually switch in on rocks on Landorus he choose, basically. But instead I go into Thunderous, and you're going to see that he does go for Sucker Punch, not fearing potential sub-Nasty Plot or anything. Does a lot of damage as I take him out with an HP Ice, because I knew it would kill from that range. That crit did not banner. I knew it would kill from that range because I'd done calcs to work out that it was max attack, max and jolly, so he couldn't have enough HP investment to live that, and I didn't want to risk him switching out into the Landorus, and if he did, I wanted to catch him with an HP Ice. So here, he decides to go into Aromatisse, and I, like I said, was expecting Trick Room from Team Matchup, so I don't think he's going to attack me. A Moonblast will kill me at this point, but I think he's going to try and set up Trick Room. I'm going to go for Sludge Bomb and just try and get damage off on this thing. It does a lot. I don't get the poison, but that's fine, because now this thing is in revengeable range from pretty much anything on my team. So now I decide to pull the switch into my Registeel, expecting him to attack and try and kill me off, and that's exactly what he does. So now it's basically, I'm going to try and sort out Trick Room turns. So I know I can chew a Fire Blast from this thing, because from those calcs, it is max HP, and I didn't actually count the special attack investment on Moonblast, I will admit. So I decided to just drop a Toxic, because I figured he would either switch in Crabominable or Drampa, and my best move to hit, to make sure that both of them just get whittled progressively is Toxic. I probably could have gone for Seismic Toss as well, but that's whatever. So I just go for Toxic as he goes out into the Drampa, not the Crabominable, which is interesting, because I thought Crabominable was a better play, because what do I switch into Crabominable at this point? Like, if I switch anything into a fighting move, like a Nidoking or a Victini, it just dies the following turn. So I feel like Crabominable was his better play at this point, but because Drampa, I can take 2 hits from. Crabominable, I'm not sure that I could. I might be able to take 1, but if it's like Hammer Arm, which I think it gets, you know, I don't have a switch in. It just basically gets 2 kills on my team as I try and start Trick Room. Whereas Drampa, I can stay in on, I take a Fire Blast. So he does have nicknames on this, just not on the Landers. I go for Seismic Toss just to get some chip damage off, because it's my best thing to deal with this. Now, I knew that Seismic Toss would give him the Berserk, but I didn't really have any other play, because if I switch in Victini, I just die to the combination of like a Fire Blast and a Hyper Voice, and nothing else is going to take 2 hits, except for like maybe Hooper might have taken 2 because it does have good Spadef. I decided that Registeel, the best thing it can do right now is to just get damage on this thing to the point where it dies. So here, we have a bit of a predicament. He has 1 Turbo Trick Room left, so he basically gets to kill 1 thing with Drampa before I can revenge it with everything on my team. So it doesn't get priority, neither does Crabominable. And I figure I'm going to take the risk and hope he misses a Fire Blast, because if I switch out into Victini and he predicts that and goes for Hyper Voice or Dragon Pulse, if I switch out into anything else, they just die to a +1 Life Orb Drampa. So my only play is to stay in here with Registeel. If he does go for Fire Blast, I can revenge it afterwards. If not, then I live a hit. So I decided to stay in. He does actually overpredict, goes for the Hyper Voice, and I am able to tank that. And that means Registeel is able to kill off this Drampa, ending the Trick Room and the Reign of Terror that was potentially about to ensue. So knowing that he's Trick Room, I'm like 100% sure I outspeed this even with a minus speed nature. And Seismic Toss will kill after 1 round of leftovers, so my play here is to stay in, give myself leftovers, and just try and get some damage off. So he goes for Protect, gets his 1 round leftovers back, and now I just have to hope he doesn't get double Protect, because if he does, then Aromatisse is back up to good health and I'm in trouble. But he doesn't get it, I do get that 50% chance in my favour and take out the Aromatisse. So now I have Red Steel at decent health, he brings in the Abominable, and like I said, if he brought this thing in out of the Trick Room, I just had to sack 2 mons, but because he brought in Drabter instead, I can revenge kill this with pretty much anything on my team afterwards, and I figure that like I just need to get chip damage off on this thing and then I can revenge it with pretty much anything. Red Steel doesn't do too much for me and I don't want to switch into anything else, so like I need to keep my Victini around and I need a King around to revenge kill this thing, I need a King around for Circuitry, etc. So Red Steel has done as much as it can. I just go for the Hidden Power Fire because it was the best chance to do damage, get a little bit of chip damage, only takes it out with a Crab Hammer and reveals Life Orb. So, at this point, I can go into anything and revenge kill him. Any mon on my team can kill this from this range. Hooper would have to rely on hitting a Gunk Shot, and Gunk Shot doesn't do much to Landorus, so that would be my best option. It would still do a decent amount to Circuitry, but I feel like Hooper is probably the one thing I don't want to go into. If I did have like, if I was special with Psychic, I could have just gone into it right here and just started killing things. But I don't have that set, so that's you know, problem. If I go into Nidoking, I basically only kill this with Flamethrower, Sludge Wave, or Earth Power, right? But the problem is, if I go for Flamethrower, he can go into Circuitry, and I don't think I can 2-shot it with Flamethrower. I'm actually not sure, I didn't run those calcs. And if I go for Sludge Wave or Earth Power, that gives Landorus a free switch in, and Landorus is spooky as fuck. And I need to keep Nidoking healthy, because he has a Circuitry. I could have gone into Victini, which would be my best play, because Specs Blue Flare gets a kill right here. And well, my play would have been, go into Victini, click Specs Blue Flare, he brings in Landorus, I stay in with Victini. If he goes for Earthquake, I die. No, I bring in probably Thunderous, and then I'm not sure if I could 2-shot Circuitry with Sludge Bomb, but that would be my play. If he goes for U-turn, I'm predicting I kill Circuitry, and then I'm able to beat the Landorus with the rest of my team. If he goes for Knockoff, then I can take a hit with such and whatever. But I basically don't think Landorus is scarfed at this point, even though I have no reason to believe that. I didn't think it was scarfed because he stayed in turn 1 on my Victini and went for Rocks. Now, if I was a timid Scarf Victini, I OHKO with Glaciate. So I didn't think he would make that risk with something that's such a potential win condition, whereas if he was bulky, he could potentially take one. So I figured, I sort of felt like he wasn't Scarf, and so I decided to go into Thunderous, because I could get off chip damage, I could kill this, I could get off chip damage on the Circuitry if I tried to set up, and I could kill Landorus with an HP Ice. So that's what I end up doing, and this is a bit of a misplay because now I can't switch into Rocks again. I do just take this thing out with a Thunderbolt, and unfortunately he goes straight into Landorus, and I've already revealed HP Ice, so this basically tells me that this thing is scarfed. And I have no play other than to stay in and sack this because I can't take a U-turn, and he knows that, he just takes me out. And now Scarf Landorus basically wins. So, looking at what's left on my team, Scarf Lando OHKOs Nidoking, it OHKOs Victini, and it has a 50% roll, I think it's like 56% chance in his favour to OHKO Hooper after Rocks. Which means this game is basically going to come down to a roll, because right here, he goes into Circuitry, I go into whatever the fuck I want, basically, and OHKO that thing. I can pick a mon and OHKO it, except Hooper, because I can't afford to go for Hyperspace Fury. So I basically would go into Victini and click Blue Flare, because if he's Scarfed, I still have Nidoking in the back and I can Earth Power it. Basically, my only play is to go in Victini, as he brings in the Circuitry. I click Specs Blue Flare, I kill this thing, he goes into Landorus, he clicks EQ, kills my Victini, I go into Hooper, hope I live, and kill it off with an Ice Punch. Actually, I'll probably knock off. I will go for knock off because if I live, then I knock off his Scarf and I can kill it with Nidoking. So that would be my sequence of plays. So that's what I'm expecting to happen. Basically, this game is going to come down to a 50-50 damage roll, except he switches in Landorus. So, Victini just kills everything. So basically, he said he didn't know if I was a special or a physical set. I disagree with that notion, because if he'd stayed in and sacked Circuitry, then he could have just won with Landorus, but I mean, he didn't know if I was Scarf Victini, but Scarf Victini would have stayed in turn 1 against Landorus. So, it would have come down to a 50-50 roll whether or not I won that game, instead of which I just OHKO'd Landorus and then OHKO'd Victini, OHKO'd Circuitry because Victini is freaking powerful, and Hooper and Nidoking go touch the field. So we win 3-0 in not the most dominant fashion. I basically underestimated how valuable Thunderous was to my team, and I need to remember that I don't have multiple ground immunities on this team, which I am used to having with Thunderous. I've always had it on a team with other ground immunities, so I know I had to preserve it that much. I also didn't have a really good switch in to Landorus. I could have brought like Cola Berry, HP Ice, Delmise or something, would have helped me deal with that a little bit better. But, you know, these things happen. I did still manage to pull out a 3-0 victory because he, you know, that's one of the advantages of Victini. If I was a physical one with V-Create, then Landorus was a switch in there, could have taken one, and then still could have killed things, and we've had Circuitry in the back to potentially revenge kill if I, you know, did that sequence of plays that I talked about and lived with Hooper and then killed it with Neo King and etc. Right? So, if I was physical, he still would have won that game, but because I did bring a special set, I just straight up OHKO'd that Landorus, and all is well in the world. So, 3-0 victory week 1. Yeah, not the greatest, but definitely not bad. I'm not going to complain about it. I made some mistakes, which I will rectify in the next one. I'm still getting used to this team. I always do badly week 1 in leagues. I always struggle a little bit with team building, make a couple of mistakes, and particularly with a free draft, every team has so many threats, it's really hard to prep for all of them. Like you'll notice, you know, I bought a lot of coverage moves that weren't needed. I'm pretty happy with how week 1 went. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I hope you guys are too. And I hope you enjoyed this little battle, and I will see you in my next video.